So what is the relationship between manifesting, yoga, and the quest for enlightenment? That's the topic of today's Visionary Yoga TV session titled Yoga of Enlightenment and Manifestation. And in that order, too. So we are living in the age of Aquarius. We've pretty much fully shifted, and that means we are living in an age governed by the air element, or in Sanskrit, in the yogic tradition, Vayu. And Vayu is very fast, very speedy, and very destabilizing. It's always moving and shifting around. And well, one thing we can say is that we are getting lighter and lightened because we're being freed from the heaviness, the mechanical grind of Newtonian physics, and we're entering more into the realm of frequencies and wavelengths, everything that Nikola Tesla loved to talk about. So we are getting enlightened in that way, but there's a real danger of, in the age of era, to spend our whole life in distractions. So just like in the race between that fable story about the rabbit and the turtle, the hare and the tortoise, the turtle won because the rabbit, was kind of conceited in his swiftness, and he thought, oh my God, this guy is so slow, and I can visit here and visit there, I can take a nap, and I'll still beat this guy. Yet the tortoise was steadfast, one foot in front of the other, and without taking a break, he had his mind on the goal, and he reached the goal, whereas the rabbit was just taking a nap, right? So that's a real lesson in our era. We should never lose sight of the goal. And if you're here because you are a yogi, and I hope you consider yourself to be a yogi with a capital Y, not just a person who does yoga on the mat. I think in our era, we tend to give that title yogi a little too easily. If you just do a few asanas, we're called yogis, but we should really be more discerning with that title. A yogi is someone who is committed to sadhana, who is committed to moksha, or liberation from this three-dimensional realm, who understands that we are our own barrier, this ego shell that we live in, and we are invested, we're committed in finding freedom beyond this body-mind complex. So that is a yogi in my book. Anyway, we're moving in that direction, and I am also working on moving in that direction. This Maya, or this illusion that you and I are separate, that there's diversity and everybody has their own life and they have nothing to do with each other, is very powerful. This object is something that is separate from me. It seems so real because the divine, or God, if you will, has such artistry in his or her or its hands. God is God because this illusion is so real. It hypnotizes us, and we spend our whole life, distracted from the ultimate goal, which is, as the word yoga encompasses, it means union. And a lot of us, students of yoga, we hear this over and over in yoga classes, and we think, okay, I know that, I know what yoga means. But then when you really think about it, have we really tried to make it our direct personal experience? Union means there is nobody else. There is nobody else but you. That the subject-object relationship is completely dissolved. It's a radical, not just concept, but a state to live in. And that is what we're after. That is the state of samadhi, being established in this consciousness of oneness. Why is that the goal? Because when you're living in that state, actually all the abundance that we're seeking, because the divine is the source, right? Consciousness is the beginning and end all of everything, of all the worlds, of all the universes, and all the abundance, and all that we seek is born out of consciousness and gets dissolved into consciousness only. So that's why moksha is, liberation, union consciousness, unity consciousness is the ultimate goal of not just yoga, of life, So we should put that in perspective when we're going about manifesting. Manifesting works because there is this unified field of consciousness. So that's one thing to really put it into perspective when you're going to manifest any amount of money or your soulmate. First, allow yourself to lose yourself in unity consciousness. Because when you do that, you are in that quantum field of oneness. Infinite possibilities exist in that place of unity consciousness. So make it your business to first touch that dimension, because then it will actually take you out of the neediness. You know, when you're needing and clinging and you're wanting that money, you're wanting that soulmate, this wanting tells your subconscious that you actually don't have it, right? And because you attract what you are and what you're resonating to, not what you want, right? Actually, you're pushing it away from you. Your very neediness, that fervent desire, comes from this lack consciousness. So that is why all great enlightened masters, such as Paramahansa Yogananda, such as Baba Muktananda, all the great beings, all the great yogis and enlightened beings in the yogic tradition and outside of the tradition also, they've all extolled this oneness consciousness. The Sufis, they talk about the friend, and this divine dance between the romance between the divine and the beloved. This is a dance between subject and object, and we're seeking to dissolve that boundary. And I know it seems so impractical perhaps in the day-to-day life, but actually, what is day-to-day life? It's consciousness. Time is a continuum. So if you prioritize your spiritual growth, and I highly recommend it, because when you do, you're committing yourself to shifting the way you perceive reality. And this is the fastest way to your spiritual growth and the whole purpose of our birth on this planet Earth. So this is my message to you today is, when manifesting, allow yourself to become a nobody, a no one in no time. Lose this consciousness that you are this limited person. All limitation, let it dissolve into the nothingness. And then when you have touched that dimension of bliss, when you have felt that sweetness of the love of that substratum of all beings, that consciousness, then you can put forth your manifestation. It works much better that way, I tell you, because there's not this clinging attachment to what you're trying to manifest. So I'll be back more with some insights and tips, but I'm really so happy that you're here. It's a wonderful time, a historic time, a revolutionary time we're living, and the revolution happens in our own consciousness. So if you got value from this video, please give it a like and comment, and I would love to hear from you. Any questions, any comments you have on this topic of manifestation, yoga, and your journey to enlightenment. This is Mariko Hirakawa of Visionary Yoga. Thanks so much for watching. Lots of love.